wonder why our minds chase status or obsess over luxury? This is Mind Matters. I'm Ivana, shining a light on the psychology behind our everyday pursuits, from money stress to social standing. I explore how we think so we can reshape our world from the inside out, because in the end, every mind matters. What if the secret ingredient to a healthier body isn't in your food, but in your mind? No, I'm not turning to magic. This is still a podcast based on pure science. But there is some incredible research that shows that simply believing a meal is healthy can trigger real health benefits that affect hunger hormones, metabolism, and even weight loss. Could your expectations of that snack you are about to have shape your health more than your actual diet? In this episode, I look at the science of placebo nutrition and the mind's power to turn perception into reality. Welcome to Mind Matters. Hello and welcome to Mind Matters. I'm Ivana, and I've spent quite a bit of time digging into a fascinating angle of nutrition research. But let me lay out the topic like this. There's a good chance you've heard about the placebo effect, where a sugar pill can lead to improvements simply because someone believes it's real medicine. And here is what the scientists started to research. What if those same mind over matter thoughts also show up at our dinner table? I'm talking about instances where thinking a particular meal is healthier might actually change how full we feel, how satisfied we are, or even how our body releases certain hormones. In other words, sometimes our beliefs can transform the very way our body handles food. That's what we're looking at today. I'll touch on some fun studies that show how perception can reduce appetite, influence satiety hormones like ghrelin, and even contribute to weight loss, sometimes even when people know the treatment is a placebo. The placebo effect in nutrition isn't just about fooling people with fake labels or sugar pills. It underscores how our expectations can spark real physiological and psychological changes. Researchers have discovered that when we believe a food or supplement will help us, say curb hunger or boost energy, our bodies often cooperate with that belief in small yet measurable ways. Benedetti, 2014. It's essential to keep in mind that this doesn't mean actual nutrients are irrelevant, far from it. But it does mean that how we think about our food does play a bigger role than we typically acknowledge. If our mind is expecting certain outcomes, be it fullness or weight loss, then our body's hormonal and neural responses can start to shift in that direction. Langer, 2009. Let's start with a study by Muscle and rethink, 2020. Researchers gave participants a pill described as an appetite suppressant, but in reality, it was completely inactive. Here's what happened. Participants reported feeling less hungry. That's not too surprising on its own. Sometimes people just expect to feel a certain way after taking a pill. But the scientists went a step further by using eye tracking technology. They found that participants who believed they had taken an appetite suppressant spent less time focusing on food images. Essentially, they were less drawn to these pictures, and they also said their craving levels dropped. It's fascinating because it implies a shift not only in self-reporting how hungry you think you are, but also in the subconscious ways you pay attention to food. If we zoom out for a second, it's easy to see how that might connect. Imagine if you approach your lunch with the mindset that it's going to be incredibly filling and satisfying. There's a possibility that your appetite actually adjusts somewhat to that expectation. Of course, nobody's suggesting you can live off the belief that celery is a cheeseburger. Still, the study highlights how strong the mind's role can be in shaping our appetite signals and behaviors around food. Another landmark study, Mind over Milkshake, Cunha et al., 2011, looked even deeper into the physiological side. Researchers offered participants identical milkshakes but labeled them differently. One group was told their shake was super delicious and high in calories, while the other group was led to believe theirs was a lighter, low-calorie option. The actual calorie count was the same for both. What happened next is the really interesting part. The participants who thought they drank the indulgent milkshake had a more pronounced decline in ghrelin levels, the hormone that signals hunger. When ghrelin levels drop, we typically feel fuller and more satisfied. Meanwhile, those who believed they had the light version of the shake experienced less of a drop in ghrelin. In other words, they felt hungrier sooner, purely because they expected fewer calories. This finding is a big clue that our expectations can shape tangible hormone shifts, not just how we feel about our meal. Even though the shakes were nutritionally identical, their perceived difference led to a very real difference in how the body responded. From a practical standpoint, maybe it's worth paying attention to the labels we slap on our meals, both literally and figuratively. If we constantly tell ourselves we're depriving our body or eating a subpar meal, it's possible we reinforce the sense of hunger or dissatisfaction. On the other hand, if we frame our food in a more positive light, our bodies might play along, at least in part. One of the most surprising twists in placebo research comes from trials involving open-label placebos. These are cases where participants are fully aware they're taking a placebo, yet they still experience benefits. A randomized controlled trial on weight loss found that individuals who were told they were taking an inert pill still managed to lose weight over time. How could that happen if everyone knows there's no active ingredient in the pill? It might come down to the ritual of taking something every day, or the psychological commitment that says, I'm doing something about my health. That simple act can reinforce healthier habits, such as watching portion sizes or sticking to a meal schedule. It's also possible that the daily reminder helps people stay more connected to their goals. This research challenges the notion that people have to be tricked for the placebo effect to work. Sometimes just engaging in the ritual with the belief that it might help is enough to trigger meaningful changes. So, how does all of this actually happen? Let's break down a few of the mechanisms researchers propose. Expectancy. This is arguably the biggest factor. When you expect an outcome, your brain gears up to make that outcome more likely. For example, if you believe a certain supplement will curb your appetite, your brain may dial down hunger signals or shift your attention away from food. Benedetti, 2014. That doesn't mean you'll never feel hungry, but it might moderate the intensity of your cravings. Conditioning. Classical conditioning plays a role too. If you've had a positive experience with a product in the past, whether it's a protein bar or a calming tea, your body and brain might start associating that product with those effects. Even if a new, identical tasting product doesn't contain the same active ingredients, your body might still respond as though it does. Langer, 2009. Mind-body interactions. There's an entire field of research exploring psychoneuroimmunology, the way thoughts and emotions can influence physical health. Hormone levels, neurotransmitters, and even immune responses can shift based on our mental state. Benedetti, 2014. In the realm of nutrition, this means your belief about a meal could spark small but meaningful changes in things like insulin or ghrelin release. Ritual and routine. Humans are routine-oriented creatures. Going through the motions of taking a pill or making a special health drink can have a reinforcing effect, reminding us of our goals or creating a sense of control that can translate into better adherence to healthy behaviors overall. One of the more practical takeaways is that our mindset about food matters, sometimes in tangible, measurable ways. It's not a substitute for balanced nutrition. Vitamins, minerals, and adequate protein are still essential. But these studies do show that positive beliefs can offer an extra nudge toward feeling satisfied and potentially following through on healthier choices. In a broader sense, this kind of research could shape how healthcare professionals approach diet plans. If doctors or nutritionists understand that belief and expectation can complement standard dietary advice, they might incorporate strategies that emphasize positive framing. By highlighting the nutritious aspects of a meal in an engaging way, people might be more likely to experience greater satiety or more energy, simply because they've been guided toward that expectation. On the flip side, this also shows why misinformation can be powerful, for better or worse. If someone wholeheartedly believes a fad diet will work wonders, they might notice short-term benefits purely from the placebo effect. That can be misleading in the long run if the diet itself isn't sustainable or healthy. The key is to find a balance, acknowledge how perception can help, but also stay grounded in sound nutritional science. Before we wrap up, let's consider a few ways you might use this information in daily life. Set positive expectations. Instead of thinking, I'm only eating this salad because I have to, try reframing it. This salad is packed with nutrients and it's going to fuel me for the rest of my day. It might seem small, but that mindset shift can alter your sense of satisfaction. Create meaningful rituals. Maybe it's making tea in the morning or preparing a snack you perceive as truly nourishing. The consistent act of doing something good for your body can reinforce healthier behaviors, even if the something good is fairly simple. Stay realistic. Believing that a candy bar is a kale salad won't magically deliver vitamins. The placebo effect isn't a magic trick. It's an influence. Use it to complement genuine nutritional efforts rather than to replace them. Reflect on past conditioning. Notice if there are certain foods that consistently make you feel a certain way and ask yourself why. Is it the food's composition or is it linked to a fond memory or a cultural norm? Understanding your own conditioning can help you navigate cravings and satiety more effectively. The mind's influence over the body can be subtle yet significant, especially when it comes to how we perceive and react to the foods on our plates. Research shows that when we believe in a certain outcome, like feeling full or losing weight, our bodies often respond in ways that align with those expectations. Carvalho et al., 2016. While nobody's suggesting you can conjure nutrients out of thin air, it's worth appreciating just how intertwined our beliefs and biological responses can be. Thanks for joining me on today's episode of Mind Matters. I'm Ivana, and it's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you. If you found it interesting, consider sharing it with someone who might benefit. And if you try applying some of these ideas, like reframing your approach to meals or noticing how labels affect your hunger, feel free to let me know how it goes. Until next time, take care. And remember, sometimes, what we think about our food can be nearly as powerful as what's actually in it. I will link all the studies and references in the show's description. If you found this discussion insightful, please consider sharing it with friends, family, or colleagues. Let's keep the conversation going about how we can make this affluent corner of Europe a healthier, more equitable place for everyone. Until next time, remember, your mind matters, and taking care of it is the best investment you'll ever make.